All right, let's take a pause real quick. I think it's story time for you guys. As you see, it is 2 weeks past when I started this arrangement. And if you're looking very closely, you might notice that some of the stuff has changed slightly. And the reason that that is that when I finished that first recording, right before I finished that recording, before I got the chance to save my work, what I had done, I actually had lost the work. I had forgotten that my computer was not plugged up, and I actually ran out of batteries before I got the chance to go back and save. I went and did some other things, thinking, oh, I'll go back and save it, and then I'll continue later. And that didn't happen, so I lost this entire transcription, so everything that you've been seeing in this episode so far. And so I actually went back and watched the raw, unedited parts of that episode to put back the stuff that I had lost, which was part of the first episode and all of this episode that you're watching right now. So that was interesting. I really want to get this episode finished for you guys. So just so you guys know, plan B for me is that rather than what I was going to do before, which was sit down just like I did with the 2013 transcription and do the entire show in one day, I'm going to take these snippets whenever I have time in my schedule. As I mentioned before, the school year has already started, which means a number of things in terms of fitting schedules. So, I need to talk about a few things before I finish this transcription, so I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. I want to show you guys, I went to Audacity and took out just the section that we are using in this episode that you saw before, so that we can listen to it and isolate it, and I amplified it just like I did on that previous episode. And I went out and took the headcams back out so that I could, we could reference them if we needed to. And I also went and looked up this video of Crown doing the show. Now, the reason I did this is because at the end, I'm a little bit unclear as to what happens with the tempo in terms of where the beat is. And so one way to make that really, really clear is to watch a video of them, because you can see the wonderful and talented Linda Harvey. I absolutely love Linda Harvey. She's a great leader. Linda, if you watch this video, you're awesome. But we can see her conducting, and so obviously we know where the beat is. Okay, so I already know a couple of things to change really quickly, just off the top of my head listening to this. This is not in the horn part. This is in the trumpet part. And whoops, we're on the second layer for some reason. Let's put it to the first layer. And I know that this sustains for a half note. Beat-um. I know that. And then, of course, we'll go back and listen and see what we can do about fleshing this entire thing out. But I know that, at least, I know that this part is not in the horn. So let's take a few listens to this recording at that section and see if we can just go ahead and fill this out. Yeah, that's what I thought. Be-da-da-dee-dum-ba-bum is how that goes. We'll go back and listen. And as you can tell, I'm taking this as a much more, from a much more smaller approach. I'm taking smaller chunks. That way I avoid getting frustrated like I did last time, because I already know it's going to take just a little bit more attention to detail to make this particular excerpt work. And so, we can go back to the way that I normally post things when we do our next episode, because obviously this takes a lot of attention on my part. Lots of intricate stuff going on. Okay. So what I'm listening for, or I guess what I listened for, was the horn part, to see exactly what the horn part was. If you are not careful, you might confuse, like I did at first, the trumpet part to trumpet 2 and 3 parts for the horn part. But the horn part actually has this rhythmic figure going on all the way through towards here. I think so. And then we have a minor here. Ba ba dee dee da da dee. And this here is not a dotted rhythm the fourth time, the last time. If I'm remembering correctly. If I am hearing correctly, I should say. So, cool. It sounds like what I think is happening. All right, so now we'll fill out the trumpet 2 and 3 parts. We have the 9 suspension, which is going to be doubled in the first trumpet part. This isn't lining up. Like I said, we're going to go fix this once we're going to watch the visual recording, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to see if we can fill in the rest of these brass and parts. 2 E's, ja da 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 da. I guess is when they come in on the and of 2. Ba da 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 dee is what I'm pretty sure happens, and these are 32nd notes, not 16th notes. Okay, I think that's right. We'll go back and listen to it. It sounds strange digitized, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. And if I'm remembering correctly as well, beep bop boom is what the tuba does. Whoops. And what we also know is that this is starting to get into the impact section again, so we'll go ahead and make this forte, and I know it crescendos towards the end, so that's why we're making it only forte, so we can give it room to grow. We'll assign it to all, we'll assign it to all staves, so that we have that. Which means we'll be able to give this a crescendo. And actually, I'm pretty sure this crescendo doesn't happen until the second half of the measure at least. Because this is still sort of a legato style, and you know, with slurs and such. When it gets here, it's more of a marcato sort of style. So, by the time we get to beat 3, I think is when that crescendo is going to happen. All right, let's see if we can flesh out the rest of this low brass in these 3 bars. If we can't, we'll go back and listen to the tuba head cam and the baritone head cam. Yep, I'm sold on that, so we're going to leave it that way. Nope, that's not going to work very well, is it? It might be a note thing for me. Yeah, it was a note thing. I had the baritone 2 and the tuba up, separated by a 9th, or if you're talking about within the octave, a 2nd. And so it gave a crunchy sound that I wasn't looking for. So I think that was actually just my quick oversight. I think that this is... I was originally going to put it into unison because of that crunch, but I think that this is what is actually supposed to happen. This is what I thought it was supposed to be. So this is unison in perfect intervals. If you notice, this is a B flat, and this is an F, which is a perfect 5th above the B flat. Then you have another B flat, which is a perfect 4th above the F. Okay, so these are perfect intervals, perfect 4ths, perfect 5ths, and then if you skip between instruments, you have the perfect octaves. The tuba and baritone 2, the baritone 3 / euphonium, and the baritone 1 are in octaves. I think that is going to work for our case. So we've now filled this section out, and we're going to just work our way backwards. We'll go back to the end later. I want to make sure that I've gotten this part correct. Let's see if this gives what we want. I think that's what we heard. Yep. That's going to work for me. Cool. Yeah, so we're going to need some dynamic alterations here to make this sound a little bit more like the original, but I think note-wise and rhythmically speaking, that's what we're looking for. Whoops. And is that it for us? We just need to go tackle the beginning? It might be. Instead of, with the exception, I mean, of course, of like the fine-tuning and such. Yeah, cool. It looks as though we'll go ahead and fill out this ending, and then we'll see what it sounds like from start of the 2D, meaning the entire brass line, to the end. But let's go ahead and see what we can figure out in this these final few measures. Linda, what do you have to show us? I should also note, she's clearly conducting a 4/4 pattern. So at some point they moved into double time here, but I decided to leave it the way I wanted it to be. No reason other than I had already started it that way, and I just wanted to leave it that way once I realized that she was conducting in 4/4. So this is what we're looking for here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that sustain happens for 8 beats and changes on 9. So just as I thought, this is all wrong. So wait, we have to take we'll get rid of just this part, because the actual notes and the chords are kind of they're correct. So I just mentioned the halftime deal. So sustaining for 8 beats, if we were to keep it correct in our transcription, it would be 4 beats. And I'll just make sure that that's correct. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay. And so then what we'll have to do just to make this work for my specific transcription is make a 2/4 bar. And that's where we have the be-da-da-dum. And I think we can do that. So let me explain this real quick. When Linda and Hunter over here conducted that last measure, you saw them change their pattern to what appeared to be a halftime 4/4 with subdivisions between each beat. They were going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and off. And hopefully you can see that. I know the video is a little bit jumpy when we stream from this recording, but I'm going to see if I can demonstrate this for you so you guys can see it. So they're conducting 4/4 right now. You see them. And then they change their beat. 2 and 3 and 4 and off. And of course they do a decrescendo. I'm sorry, not a decrescendo, a retardando with that. So that's, we're going to keep this for 1. So clearly we're going to have to slow this down considerably from the rest of the piece. Okay, so now that we have that taken care of, we'll go ahead and consult this recording here for the actual chord tones and such. Oops, we gotta go back. Okay. I'm gonna play that again. I want you to listen for the baritone 2, which is in that 9 suspension, and for the horn part, which I believe is also on that 9 suspension, doubled with the 3rd trumpet. And we're gonna listen to see if it is doubled with the action going on from the 9 suspension to the 4 suspension or the 11 suspension in that 2/4 bar. I'm pretty sure it is. We're going to listen just one more time to see if that's the case. Yep, I'm pretty sure it is. Okay. So I heard a root in the octave of this third trumpet range slash mellophone range, and so the only explanation I can think of is that it's in the mellophone. I did not hear this octave incredibly present in in that part, so I'm going to assume that that is because it's just on the third trumpet. If it was the entire horn section, that part would have been more present, and so I'm going to assume that that what the horns are playing is the tonic, since I heard the tonic, and it's obviously not in the baritone part because I also heard the fifth. And so I might actually change the horn 1 to have it double trumpet 3. But I know at least one of those horns is on that tonic, on that root. Yep, that's what we want. Let's listen to see if we want to put that horn, first horn, with the... Yes, we do. It's a lot more present than I thought it would, and than I thought it was. So we're actually going to do that. And I heard something going on in this sustain that I didn't notice until just now. I think there are some moving lines going on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure in this whole note chord, there's some action going on, probably in the horn part, that I missed before. So we're going to check back with this conducting and see if we can figure out time-wise what we're looking for. Might be a bit of a hemiola-esque figure there. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, bum. Yep, I think so. We're going to make this fortissimo. We're going to make this the end of the phrase. But we're going to leave the accents off until it gets to this point so that we still have a bit of a place to go when we have that final chord statement, energy-wise. So that's what we're going to do with that. And we are going to give all these notes releases. And so we are going to roll out the sound into that accent because I think it's going to sound great. And then we're going to roll the accent out into the release as well. So we're going to put crescendos in the last 2 beats of that final chord as well. And in addition to doing that, just while I'm thinking about, because it looks as though we are pretty much done note and rhythm wise with this transcription. I'm going to go back. There are a couple of spots that I know need crescendos that I didn't write in that will have that transition thing going on as well. Okay? So we're pushing energy through to the end of the release. And I think I'm going to make this whole thing a growing statement. There's a little bit of a relief in looking at this transcription and looking and thinking, oh wow, I think I'm done, because this took, like I said before, a lot longer than expected. I thought that this was going to be a lot more simple, but then I discovered a lot of intricate things in this ballad that I didn't notice before, which is why I do this. That's why I do these transcriptions, so I can learn what the best in the business do and how they do it, and so that I can learn from them and see what they do. There's a lot of small, tiny, nuanced things that are going to be added here that I'll probably wait until after I've done the entire transcription and go back and we're looking over the stuff. And that'll be in bonus episode material. I'm not going to show that to you right now because I'm not going to do it until after I'm done with the transcription and I go back and the nuanced things mostly are nuanced with regards to tempo fluctuations, some pushes and pulls that they do incredibly well in this beautiful, beautiful ballad. But I'm not going to bother with that now. That's going to take a lot of time and patience that I'm going to save for when my mind is fresh, when we're going over the thing as a whole. I can see in the edits there'll probably be a lot of short crescendos and decrescendos and a lot of micromanaging beat by beat with the tempo changes. But note-wise and rhythm-wise, it looks like we're okay. It turned out just fine. Yeah, looks like that's going to work. There are a couple of quick things that I want to change. So I'm doing this right now because I don't think this is something that when I come back, I'm going to remember nuance-wise. And I think it's worth that I do it now. So I'm going to take the time to do this now. Let's see. Yes, I think that's what I want to do. All right, so basically what I'm doing here is I don't think that these dynamics are what I'm making them to be in the actual transcription, but I'm bringing certain things out of the texture and taking certain things and putting them, hiding them inside the texture and giving them room to grow. So I'm having them start at lower dynamic markings to serve that purpose. So that musically, if you were an educator, you would just say, follow through to the end of the phrase. You know, you'd make sure the person was playing to the end of the phrase. But in the case of a computerized recording, you can't tell it to play musically and play through the phrase. So I'm going to do it through the use of these dynamics. I want this to lead into here, but I want this area to still be mezzo piano. And so that's why I'm bringing these parts down whenever they come in. I want the ending of all of these phrases to end at mezzo piano, which is why I took it at mezzo piano here. The trumpet goes just a little bit into the next measure, staying mezzo piano, so that's okay. Then the horn comes into piano. I want all these parts to be piano. I want this part to be heard. I might make this a mezzo piano once I go back and listen to it because it'll already be above the balance, but what I want here is in every case where I have the piano dynamic, for it to grow until it gets to the next measure of the mezzo piano, which means all of these crescendos are going to be in different places. Okay, so let's see what this sounds like. I think this is going to be the money. Yep, there it goes. Yep, that's a thing of beauty. Okay, cool. So just a couple of tiny things, but that is where I want to stop this episode. So thank you for enduring this all the way to the end. The next episode will be a little bit less grueling, and I'll try to edit this in a way that it doesn't look as boring. But when I listen to the unedited version of this episode, there's lots of extreme tedious and really slow work. I'm gonna try to edit it so that it looks exciting and engaging for you guys to take a look at and watch the process, but you still don't miss anything out, because I did lots of stopping and starting and rewriting and changing my mind on things, and so hopefully I can post this episode in such a way that you will be excited and engaged and informed. Once again, as always, I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. If you have any questions, leave a comments in the comments section below, or if you have any comments. And the next thing that we will be doing is the opener section. So let me take just a few moments to pull up the opener so that you guys can listen to what we are going to be transcribing. We're only going to do half of the episode in this next, half of the opener in this next episode, because this opener is pretty involved and there's a lot of things happening. But we're going to start right here at the triple tonguing. I'm excited to break this down for you guys. And for me as well. Okay? So where we will stop this transcription is right here. Okay? So that's what we're going to do for next episode. Again, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next episode. I hope you enjoyed this.